What's going on, everybody? Crane Daddy here. So I've been getting a lot of messages and a lot of comments from you guys, and everybody wants to know, were you fired from your job? Are you still a crane operator? Are you still a longshoreman? So what I want to tell you guys is yes, I was fired from Phoenix Marine Services, which is CMA CGM. That's the company I drove steady for 15 years. They fired me for being on an electronic device streaming at work. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, the boss called me down and said a couple of superintendents wanted to speak with me. So I come down out of my crane and there's two superintendents there. We start talking. I start letting them know that it's a live stream, but it's been pre-recorded. It's not live right now. And I asked him if he could show me the device that he watched it on so I could explain to him and have him look to see that it's not me, that if you check it out, you can see it's still going. Or I could just turn it back on or turn it off. I don't think that mattered to him. I think they were pretty determined to get rid of me. So he told me I was fired. So he said, you can go call your BA. So I went to an area where we usually pick up our work assignments, where the foreman's trailers are. I called the BA. I waited for about an hour and 15 minutes. He never showed up to where I was at. I go out to the parking lot and I see him talking with somebody in the parking lot. Then he's proceeding to leave. So I start whistling to him. He stops. I run up to him. I start explaining what's happening and told him the story, and then asked him, what do we do? Are we going to go in there? Are we going to talk with the employer, try and get my job back? So what he told me was, he goes, it's pretty late. Just go ahead and head home. Sounds like a confusing story. I'll go talk with the employer and I'll give you a call tomorrow. Well, I never got a call the next day, which made me a little suspicious, because the BA who was supposed to represent me that night is also a steady crane operator at the same dock I am, with less seniority than I have. So I kind of felt like he should have recused himself and had a different BA come to represent me, or at least a BA represent me on the job. So I never got any representation from my union that night either. So I don't know what the procedures is. I've been a longshoreman for 25 years. I've never had a complaint. I've never been fired. So I didn't know what to do. So I went home. I called my employer the next day to see if I'm still fired or if they're going to let me come back. And they proceed to tell me that I'm fired and they're going to move forward with a complaint. So I'm just very shocked at this time for being there for 15 years. So never had a complaint, never had a problem, and I busted my ass for that company for 15 years. I think I've been a pretty good model employee. So anyways, I know the procedure now is they're telling me to get a hold of my LRC rep, kind of tell him what's happening so that we can build a case and try and get my job back. So 2 weeks go by and I get no call or anything like that. So I finally go down to the union and I meet with my LRC rep. I explained to him what's going on, that I was fired without a boss, that I didn't get any representation from a BA on the job. And so what he told me is that we'll go to LRC and we'll try and fight to get your job back. So I'm like, okay, great. When will we go to LRC? Because it's already been 2 weeks. He told me because we're under contract negotiations, we don't have a contract. So there is really no set LRC for us. So I was like, oh, okay. So he goes, we'll call you, you'll get a letter and you'll know when to come in. So about 2 months later in July, I get a letter to come in for my first LRC. So I go into my first LRC and I sit down and they read off the complaint, and my LRC rep asked me to answer their questions. They're asking me about the live streaming. I try and explain to them how it works, that I was warned earlier and that's why I was doing pre-recordeds instead of being live. So I wasn't on an electronic device that night. But they said that they were going to stick with it. The LRC rep mentioned that I had been fired without a boss. They didn't care about that. So he said, okay, we're going to go to I guess it's called an area LRC, which is the next LRC. So at this time, I'm hearing a lot of different things from a lot of people telling me that this kind of isn't right, what's happening, and this is not the procedure, which I don't know, and I'm not saying that it's still not. So he tells me that, I ask him, is it going to be a week, 2 weeks, a month? How long will it be? And he tells me that they'll get a hold of me and they'll let me know when the second LRC will be. So about 2 to 3 months later in October, I get a call from my president. He leaves me a message and he tells me to be at the PMA building at a certain time, and that's where we'll have the area LRC. I proceeded to go to that one, and at that LRC, I'm mentioning to my LRC rep, you know, like what's happening, what am I supposed to do? So we go in there and I just explain the story. I apologize to the employer. I tell them nothing like this will ever happen again. The job's very important to me. I've been here a long time. I've been I think, an exemplary employee. And that, you know, my dad used to work there. There's a history here. It's important to me to keep this job and show you guys that it's important to me. So they refused. They said, no, we're not going to do it. So my LRC rep told me the next step is arbitration, so that we'll go to arbitration. And again, he doesn't know how long that will take or when it'll be. So he says, I'll get notified. So October is when this happened. November goes by. I'm seeing one of our ex-vice presidents that's also steady at that place posting a video up in his crane. I'm seeing the mechanics, you know, they have music blasting in their area, playing music. So I go to tell my LRC rep, you know, why is it okay for these people to keep posting and other people to still be on their electronic devices? Because it's no phones, no radios, no earphones, no TVs, no nothing. And I told him I feel like I'm being targeted and I don't think this is fair. So I'm just hearing lots of different mumblings, and I'm dependent on my union. I'm thinking they're fighting for me because an injury to one is an injury to all. So I get a letter in January stating that I was at an LRC meeting on January 10th where the employer told me that they're going to drop the complaint, but I'm not going to get my job back. So I wasn't at that meeting. I wasn't at that LRC thing. What I did get was a phone call from my LRC rep telling me that they're not going to push forward with arbitration because they feel like it's something they can't win, and that it's in my best interest because if I'm found guilty of this, I could get 90 days suspension. So I told them I thought this was unfair, that I want my arbitration. I want to take this to arbitration because they fired me without a boss. I got no representation from a BA, and they have no proof. They were supposed to show me a video that was going to prove that I was online, and I've asked repeatedly for evidence so that I could help build a case. I asked if I could hire my own attorney to come in and do my LRC for me, do the arbitration for me, because I had no faith in my LRC rep. I just didn't feel like he had my best interest in mind. And I just felt like it's been drug on. I mean, it's almost a year now. So January is when I finally got all this notice that I wasn't going back to my job. That's why I haven't said anything. That's why I really haven't talked, because I really thought all this would get resolved without me having to file with the National Labor Board and just do all the stuff I didn't want to do for my union. Because you guys know I try and stay very positive on this channel and just trying to do the right thing. So I just wanted to come out and let you guys know I did get fired from my job, that I am still a longshoreman, that I am still a crane operator. I just work out of a union hall now. So, and that's what our hall's for, is for situations like this. So I just want to thank you guys for all the support, you guys are just overwhelming with the support you give me, with the advice, with the videos that you're sending me. I just appreciate all that. And I just wanted to come on here and just tell you guys exactly what happened. And if you want to talk to me, if you want to message me or anything like that, just leave a comment below, or you can send me a personal message. And that's where we are. So I've filed with the NLRB, and we'll see where it goes from here. I was just hoping it wouldn't come to this, but I really don't know what else to do, because I don't feel like I'm getting any help from anybody in my union. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate you guys.